Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hail Britannia. We are picking up right where we left off in our war against. I forget. There's a name for this. Whoa! Everything's lagging out. Everything okay? We all right? There we go. Just took a second to catch up. We are waging our war against, I forget the name of this union. There's some sort of name for these three countries under a personal union, and I forget what it is, and if someone knows, go ahead and drop a comment and educate the world. Or I suppose I could look it up on Wikipedia, but frankly, I'm just too lazy at the moment. But yes, we are at war with Denmark and its subordinate states. Why is everything lagging out for me here? Whoa. Everybody alright? Everybody okay? We're gonna go ahead and unpause and see what happens here. Yeah, everything's fine now. I don't know what was going on. But yes, we are still at war. Now we're just trying to build up Denmark's exhaustion. We are also exploring over here. We have found Canada. We have found one province. Yes. Why is this guy no longer moving? You silly, silly person. Go home. All right. Denmark has another peace offer for us. It will give us Orkney, and it will give 2 cores back to the Livonian Order. What other cores? Really? Neva's a Livonian core? When did that happen? Regardless, I don't care about that peace deal. That's not what I want, and you damn well know it's not what I want. So, Denmark's war enthusiasm is also low. Look at that. We're very, very close to Denmark just giving up all of Norway's non-continental territory. Which is going to be a very exciting day. We've already maxed our war score. They are losing men still. Where are they losing all of these guys? Oh, you know what I bet it is? Yup. No. Where are they losing dudes? Yeah, Denmark is losing soldiers, and I do not know where they are losing men. But they've suddenly dropped to medium enthusiasm. I have absolutely no clue what is going on over there right now. But you know, I'm perfectly content to just sit here on my island and let their exhaustion build up. Withdraw from Connaught. I know he only had 10 more to go, but I don't care. They will give Orkney, return Neva and Ocel, and return Ladoga. I don't know. You don't understand what I want. Just bump up Munster a little bit more. We have 2 more years, I believe, until our negative relations goes away. Muscovy is huge, but they're not at war with anybody else. I want to know where they keep losing these men. And it's not just they lose a few men, they lose huge amounts of men in battles that I can't account for. All these guys are a bit pricey. But I guess we'll do morale of navies, why not? And we do need bonus Diplo points because our ruler still isn't great at Diplo. He's 3, so he's average, but he's not great. Yeah, they keep losing them, then they immediately all come back again. I don't understand what's happening. Now we're just kind of waiting for Denmark to kind of get exhausted with us. Denmark will now give... No, it's not what I want. I will continue to be an impetuous child about this until I get what I want. We're going to sail up into here. And because, you know, it's just part of my little perfectionism thing. I want to know where everything is. Give me everything. So back to here, over to here, and then back home to Norway. And you'll notice now that our prestige is just going to keep climbing, because basically once you unlock exploration, it's game over. Like, there's just nothing that can stop your prestige from going up. How large is their navy? Their navy's still about the same size. I honestly can't believe they invested in the... Can we move these guys to here maybe and move the transports up there? Just kind of cycle everybody, try and build a little bit more exhaustion. Yeah, there we go. That made a little bit of a difference. We're 5 points away from them accepting our peace offer. Nope. Norway's enthusiasm is low, and Norway's exhaustion is through the roof. Wow. I almost feel bad. Almost. And can I detach a blockade of this? Nope, that's what they need. Can we blockade part of Holstein and start building up? Because basically what I can do is if Denmark continues refusing our demands, basically what I intend on doing is just building up as much exhaustion in all of their vassals as possible. What is necessary for this blockade to keep going? They basically need everybody in that blockade. We'll cede Orkney. No, you know what I want. You damn well know what I want, and I'm not walking away until I get it. Now, I'm sure at this point some people are tearing out their hair telling me to just go ahead and invade. And that's probably the smartest option to make, but I really don't want to commit land troops, because basically once I land, I'm going to have to deal with the combined might of Muscovy, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Holstein. And I don't want to gamble on good location and good luck and their armies being scattered. I don't want to gamble on those things. Right, everything is spread out because I'm blockading, which is fine. Let's do a little bit more micromanagement. How is my Diplo rep doing? I'm just going to let the timer keep going because, you know, I intend on sweating them out of this. And it's also that you don't start a land war in Asia. I consider the moment you land in Scandinavia, you've already started a land war in Asia because Muscovy's going to want a piece of you. Actually, will Muscovy back out now? They have to be losing enthusiasm. Out. They'll take a white piece. Perfect. Which bumps my... Yeah, look at that. Look at that bump in score. So suddenly, you don't have Muscovy and you don't have Pskov backing up Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and Holstein. So now my war score has jumped because they're much more we are much more even in terms of at least land troops. Which means now almost instantly they'll take our peace offer. So what we're going to get from this war is Akureyri, Faroe, the Faroe Islands, Orkney, Reykjavik, and Shetland. So if we go ahead and send that demand... Ta-da! So now you'll notice we have a little bit of revolt risk. We have provincial unrest, 9.6, because A, they're not the right culture, and B, we took them by force. But they're all islands, so it'd be really, really hard to continue policing these in the event of an uprising. So here's what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call all my trade ships back so that I can get them back to patrolling, and I'm going to call my transports and put them back in Wales. What I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go about the process of coring them. So this is only 15 points. They're all one base tax provinces, so they should be very cheap. The only thing that will make them more expensive is if I didn't have a core on them. Because one feature of the game is to encourage you to get, claims. To encourage you to get claims on provinces. Here we go, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. They're all very cheap. The only reason there was a difference between 15 and 20 is because I had a claim on Orkney and I didn't have claims on the rest of these. What I'm also going to do is increase autonomy now that I've begun coring them, and that will reduce the amount of money I get from them, which is already negligible because they're only one base tax and we have a different culture, which means, or rather, not just a different culture, but a non-accepted culture. Norwegian culture does not command enough trade income to become an accepted culture for us, which is how you begin accepting cultures, is they make enough money eventually, and your nation kind of goes, yeah, all right, they make money for us, fine. They're part of our culture, they contribute to the well-being of the nation. Since that is a problem for us, that already slashes how much we make by 33%, you'll notice. So I've just cranked it up to 75% because it really doesn't matter how much money we make from these provinces. They are not significant for their monetary wealth. They are significant for their location. Because once this finishes coring, this will be our closest port to North America. We have a very limited amount of space over which we can form colonies because we have a very limited supply chain. If we look at military or diplomatic technology, so, colonial range, at level 0, we get plus 60. At level 3, we add 100 to that. At level 7, we add 115, and it slowly increases over the course of various levels. Now, we won't be getting levels because we're going to be trying to do ideas. And so the third idea, for example, will give us bonus colonial range. Once we get this idea, we'll probably switch back and grind out a couple of these diplomatic technologies just to get to level 7 to boost our, there we are, to boost our colonial range. But you'll notice England isn't in a really great spot to reach anything. I mean, Portugal is in a great spot because they start with this colony. They, I believe, start with Azores. And it allows them to reach down. As you can see here, the little hint of green, they have begun to colonize in Africa. And they probably have the Canary Islands right down here. Or are these the Canaries? These are the Canaries. I think this is Cape Verde then. Which allows them to just immediately jump across the southern Atlantic and go into South America. which will then allow them to creep up into the Caribbean and into North America if they start unchecked. England's best option to do this is to either find another reason to go to war with Portugal and Castile and cut off these colonies, or to go across the North Sea. Because I do not think we are strong enough to go to war with Castile or Portugal, we're going to go across the North Sea and just immediately begin trying to colonize in Greenland and Canada. We're going to make English Canada. I'm sorry, Quebecois across the world, but England got there first in this timeline, so that's the way we're going to do this. No offense, I do love your cuisine, but there's no saving you here. I'm not going to let France beat me to the New World. So yeah, now we're just going to keep exploring and keep getting some technologies, core these provinces, finish annexing here so that we have a unified British Isles, so we don't have to worry about that. Apologies, I had to clear my throat there. We're going to split this fleet in half. Half of you are going to patrol Lubeck. Half of you are going to patrol... yeah, still the North Sea. Because now you'll notice we clearly dominate. So if we look at the North Sea, most of this is us, 31%. We dominate it. Norway has 22%, but that's just because most of their country is in the North Sea. If you look at the English Channel, we dominate that with 39%. Again, because most of the provinces in it are ours, so we don't need to patrol it. If we look at Lubeck, we're actually in a position very soon, once we get these patrol ships going. Huh, we're not even a threat to the power of the Hansa here, are we? Nope, there we are, 16%. Boom, right off the bat. And Burgundy's going to try and blockade us. Oh no, Burgundy, you're so scary. Actually, does Flanders exist? Flanders considers these all her core... Oh, Brabant has claims. Holland considers these two her core provinces. Flanders considers this a core province. I would actually... I'm kind of tempted to just to go to war with Burgundy and make them and just kind of break them down into Flanders and Holland. The problem is France has already claimed those provinces, and if we break them down into any smaller parts, that would give France a really easy way to get... How many base tax is that? 8 plus 6... That's 16. That's 24. That would give them a really easy way to get 32 base tax. And I don't think France needs any more help, damn it. All right. Now, if we look at our Diplo rep, we should be almost good to go. When does this go away? Yep, just went away, actually. Perfect. And we're above 190 relations with one of these guys. We're going to go ahead and throw them both some money. So economy actions, send a gift, 25 gold. Not gold, I guess. It's ducats. I keep calling it gold, and I apologize. Oh, Connaught wasn't even married to us. I probably could have just done that. It was a much cheaper option. But now we're going to immediately begin as soon as these guys are both back and we're allowed to go do Diplo ideas again, or Diplo actions again. Yep, annex them both simultaneously. And that way, the minus 30 relations and the 3 Diplo rep won't really matter anymore. Do we have a mission for anything good? We can solidify our paper relations. I'm not sold on that. I guess. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Solidify our paper relation. No, let's hold off. Let's hold off. I'm sorry, I'm being indecisive. We're going to hold off on doing that until we get our diplomats back and we know exactly what we're doing. Because once we finish annexing those guys, we will actually only be at 1 out of 4 relations. Which is fine because we're not continental, so we don't need to worry about it for the sake of safety. But it's also bad because if we don't have royal marriages, we don't have anybody who can really create heirs. We don't have any allies abroad. We don't have any reason to get drawn into wars that we might have an interest in. So we're going to send this fleet out again to do a little bit more exploring. Yeah, this is... I'm clicking from memory, by the way. If you have not played this game before, do not expect to know where those things are. I've just done a couple games as exploring the North Sea, either as Portugal when I got bored of colonizing, or as England doing test games for this. We're going to march these men back down to Oxfordshire because there's no reason to keep them up there. Integrating Connaught. Yay! Huzzah! Let's see if this keeps going or if we need to find a Diplo rep guy. It should keep going. It's not going to keep going. Damn. Yes, we get a second group of ideas now. Okay. I normally, my favorite rotation is I normally go a diplomatic idea, a military idea, and administrative idea. And the reason I normally do that is because Diplo ideas, you got to go first because early Diplotechs usually aren't that big a deal. So, for example, if you're playing a landlocked nation, Diplotech mostly influences trade and navy powers, and those don't really matter if you're landlocked. Obviously, for us, we wanted it because we wanted to get exploring right away. And normally I would go a military idea because once you get to this point in the game, the military techs aren't as, you're keeping enough of a pace on them that you don't need to worry about them so much. Unfortunately, because England has such a bad technological start, I'm worried that we're going to fall further behind on these, and I don't want that to happen. So rather than going into a military idea, I'm going to switch up my normal, strategy and go into an administrative idea next. And there are two administrative ideas I really, really like the most. Innovative and humanist. Innovative is really good because it helps with prestige decay, mercenaries, it gives bonus it helps technology costs go down. You get better tradition, reduces inflation, monthly war exhaustion goes down, leaders without upkeep +1, and advisor cost goes down. It's just a generally good idea group. Humanist ideas, however, lower the cost of other ideas and are generally great at keeping revolt risk down, helping accepted cultures, lowering years of nationalism. So when we start conquering lesser nations and tribal nations over here, that will help. It also helps tolerance of heathens and heretics. So when, for example, the Protestant Reformation eventually starts, that will help us lower our revolt risks. Humanists and innovative are both really, really good, generally speaking. I think I'm going to pick humanist, because I think we're going to have a lot of, I'm kind of hoping that will help our Norwegian problem. It will help stave off the Protestant Reformation. And if we decide to flip to Protestant, it will allow us to kind of escape the problems of Catholic uprisings. So I think I'm going to go with humanist. Oh, and additionally, when we start taking colonies from other I didn't even think about this. We start taking colonies from Portugal and Castile, that will help, because then we may start accepting Portuguese and Castilian, or I guess it would be Spanish at that point probably. Because they're such high trade power provinces. All right, our fleet is at its limit. Our military is at its limit. Excellent. We're going to march you over, and you're going to join our army based in London. Right, we're not making any progress. Do we have a Diplo rep guy? We do not. Of course we do not. Why would we? That would be way too convenient. So now Munster's just going to sit there and kind of pout at us. Whoa, 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 whoa. France declared war upon their new enemy, Austria. They cite succession war as their casus belli. Okay, let's just take a moment and analyze what France and Austria are. Because a succession war means they're fighting for control of the throne of a country. Defender against France in the Brandenburgian Succession War. Really? France and Austria went to the mattresses because the Hohenzollern line in Brandenburg died, and they had marriages to both France and Austria. So now Austria inherited a personal union over Brandenburg, and France wants them to break it. This is really good for us because this is going to be a huge continental war. Who's on their side? So they're currently at war with Austria, Brandenburg, the Papal State, Siena, the Palatinate, Augsburg, Würzburg, Alsace, Provence, Naples, and Hungary. Austria is currently at war with just France and Auvergne. And Siena is at war with, so France is alone with Auvergne, which, frankly, France doesn't need much more than its own vassals. And it's winning its war against Provence pretty handily, so it doesn't have to commit a whole lot of men elsewhere. Wow, that'll be a huge war. I'm kind of sad I don't get to see much of it, but you'll soon see. I like sometimes zooming in on the fog of war because you'll soon see like cities and states lighting up like little firecrackers. There you go, siege up there, siege over here, and you'll get a lot more of that as France and Austria move into each other's territory. Okay, we have to keep our eyes out for a Diplo rep guy because we're going to need one eventually. But I'm not super worried. Worst case scenario is we keep Munster. I mean, the only advantage to taking over Munster is it allows us to form Great Britain. But we can't do that until we're Admin Tech 10 anyway. And that's going to be slowed down because we've decided to do humanist ideas. So I'm not terribly worried that Munster isn't being annexed. All it does is it ties up a what's the word I'm looking for? Diplomat. And we may very well just recall him. Once we get to max relations with him, we may very well just say, you know what, screw it. Yep, Provence pieced out. France fully annexed Provence. The target of the coalition of Lorraine. Who's in the coalition against France? I'm curious. I have a feeling it's just Lorraine. Yeah. Oh no! France should be so scared. Wow. That's actually a surprisingly small... Oh, I hate this event. Nobles demand recompensation. The state has lived off the contribution of the nobles for a long period of time. Now, the country is doing well, so the nobility is eager to get their cut of the cake. Apparently, we now have cakes. But we can either ignore the nobility and lose 2 stability, so that would take us down to -1, or very well pay them off. We lose roughly a third of our money, and we go down to 0 stability. We can afford it. We're not spending money on anything else. I'm going to go with this option and just be very surly about it. Bastards. Jackals, all of you. Alright. So now we have only 2 relations. Portugal is met to us. Basically, once this guy says he's done improving relations, I'm going to withdraw both of these diplomats from Munster, because I think that's just tying up a lot of resources in something we can't do much about at the moment. Then we're going to go ahead and see who hates France and what we can kind of do with that. Castile's neutral to us at the moment. I'm kind of worried about building up a good relationship with Castile, though, because then I'm worried that we're going to have to end up breaking it, and it'll make wars complicated, and I don't want to do that. Look at this. Look at all this land we're finding. We're so good at exploring. We're just the best. We're the best of all explorers. We are England. Ignore the fact that there's a guy named the Explorer. Isn't that Portugal? Wasn't it Henry the Explorer? Henry the Navigator. That's it. Henry the Explorer. My European history teacher would be so pissed at me for saying that. Alright, Aragon is down in Tlemcen because what's happening down here? Portugal and Spain are invading basically Algiers, is this area roughly. Morocco has managed to hold its territory together rather well. Okay, that's the end of what we can do there. So we're going to withdraw these 2. And the reason I'm fine abandoning this at 52% is it's a 4 base tax province. There's not a whole lot that's going to happen between now and then. Apologies. Now, I could just take this, but I really want to get this plus 50% before we begin. Plus, what that will also do is when we decide to start building heavy ships, and we'll get yearly naval tradition, it's just a good idea. There we go, Orkney is cored, and the rest should soon follow. Which will go a very long way to lowering our revolt risk in those provinces. Now, look at that, 95% on all of them. 5... 6. General Thomas Norfolk. No, that was our 100 tradition guy. I mean, again, we're not getting into many land wars until we begin colonizing, at which point we're going to go butting up against natives. There we go. We should now have 0 overextension. If we go into diplomacy, overextension, 0%. Look at that. Look at that. It's lovely. Frickin' just great. Everything's great. It's great to be England. It's a good day to be British. Alright, we can't explore much in the northern part. We have found a native nation. Alright, we're going to just explore down. We're going to just explore more of the coast of this new continent we have found. Because we want to be the first ones to exploit its riches. And then, I don't know what I did there, but I botched the travel path, so we're just going to send him back to Iceland as soon as he's through exploring. What is he finding? What's he finding? Oh, we found the Pequot and we found the Abenaki. We have, for whatever reason, not found these guys. These are some very high base tax provinces in here, so I'm glad we found those. Because that will allow us a really good place to settle. So, for example, that's a 4 base tax. I think this is a 5? No, that's a 3. Up here around here somewhere, that's 4. There's a 5 base tax somewhere in here. Pequot are sitting on a 4. The Abenaki, I think, are sitting on a 2 or a 3. Yeah. These are the ones I really want to get, though. These are important. What? The reins are too loose. Efforts to treat our newly conquered enemies with respect for their liberties have only led to an outburst of patriotic rabble-rousers. This fire may burn out eventually, but we could try to quash it for now. Oh, right. This is an event because we're humanists. So because we're humanists, we'll have some events where people will experiment with non-accepted religions. They'll express themselves in a way that in medieval times would normally be met with extreme violence and fear. In this instance, we're going to get 5 years of nationalism in the Shetlands. I'm fine with that. I'm fine just continuing to lower autonomy, whatever, or to raise autonomy. I don't much care. Yeah, they have a 0.1 chance of rebelling. Oh no. If it starts getting up there, what we'll do is I'll just take my ships and I'll drop 14 people on the Shetlands and I'll just occupy it and sit there and wait. But I don't feel like spending 50 military power on it when we're still behind on technologies. God, we are still behind. England has a deceptively bad start, despite the fact it's stronger than all of its neighbors, and despite the fact that you can really get out of those wars very, very simply. It's truly kind of a terrifying start to realize that your leader's an idiot. Henry VI knows nothing about anything. Apologies if you are somehow related to Henry VI Lancaster, but if you are, why are you sitting around watching Let's Plays on YouTube? Shouldn't you be like, I don't know, doing something productive? I mean, shouldn't I be doing something productive? I consider this productive. Whatever. All right, the Succession War. How's that going? France has occupied part of Austria. Oh no, the Breisgau is gone. Damn. If France was smart, they would make a beeline for Tyrol, because Tyrol is one of the best gold mines in the game, and it's one of the only ones in Europe. So it's providing a great deal of money for Austria. Growth of cities attracts serfs. It seems as if serfs are moving out of the provinces and aim to earn a living in the capital. This is creating turmoil in the country, but our capital may benefit in the long run. So we either increase serfdom, lower stability cost, but also lower morale of armies, or lose a base tax in Cumbria. I have to refamiliarize myself with Cumbria. So this goes down to 2 base tax, but gain a base tax in London, which will take this from a 3 to a 2, and this goes up from a 12 to a 13. And 25% local economy in Cumbria. I'm fine with that. All that really means is this makes less money, and London makes more money. And London was making us more money to begin with, so I'm fine intensifying how much money London makes. That's just, it doesn't seem like a bad thing to me, but maybe I'm wrong. But I was looking over here because these are colonies. This is where I'm going to try and start settle as soon as possible for our Canadian colony. And the reason why is because it's an important center of trade. It has the it's not an important center of trade, sorry. It is the St. Lawrence Estuary, which gives it bonus trade power. Which won't be a big deal if we get all of this territory, but if anyone else is competing in this area, we want that St. Lawrence Estuary. Plus, it's just a high base tax province. I mean, 4, 3. These are both 2s. 2, 2. So, but again, we won't be able to get there right away. We'll have to end up colonizing a little bit of land we don't want, or, you know, we want as much land as possible, obviously. We're have to colonize some land that's not exactly the best in order to get there. We're just going to keep going up and down the coast, exploring as much of this as we can. And you notice now that we're not having any prestige issues anymore. We may be losing 5 a year, but every time we discover a province, we get a bunch of it. Which is kind of the position Portugal constantly finds itself in. Yeah, Portugal is 98 prestige. They also have 5 ideas. It's just such a crap beginning for England. I'm so sorry to say it. And I apologize because England does have a much slower start at the onset. Than many other nations, especially my Brandenburg campaign. For those of you who have watched episode 1 of my Brandenburg campaign, literally right off the bat, you just kind of come out of the gates and you have to come out swinging, because if you don't come out swinging, everyone will swing at you, as you can see by what has happened to Brandenburg now. Brandenburg didn't try and secure its core, it didn't pursue the Pomeranian succession, and frankly, it didn't pursue my strategy of taking other provinces, so now it's being consumed by Magdeburg, and a succession war is being fought over it. It's just not a good day to be Prussian. And yes, I'm going to keep calling the Brandenburgians Prussian because Brandenburgian is a really hard word to say and it sounds a bit silly. So yeah, they're not Prussians, but I'm going to call them Prussians because they also have Prussian ideas. Look, Prussian ideas. They're meant to be the Prussians. Okay. Let's see. Who's improving relations with us? Does anyone care that we're here? Brabant and Flanders are both improving relations with us. I think it's because they think I'm going to defend them against France. Which is really like the biggest con of them all. Improve relations with Sweden a little bit more, and yeah, why not? Improve relations with Austria. I don't foresee us being rivaled with Austria, and we kind of want Austria to be there to keep checking France's power. I have a feeling they're not going to be able to accomplish that, though. Oh, crap. Now, I can't tell here if the Ottomans took land from Hungary or if Hungary took lands from the Ottomans. All right, there goes my alarm again. I'm trying to, like I said, guys, I'm trying to keep these much more uniform in their time lengths, just because I had that one episode run away on me and ended up at 45 minutes, and then I had another episode that was 27, and I'm trying to avoid that so that you guys can kind of bracket out your time accordingly to, you know, sit down and enjoy these. And I very much appreciate you guys viewing them. Thanks very much for stopping by. Just going to queue this guy up on his next grand exploration. Let's just go like that and then back to Iceland. All right, this has been England. We have won our war with Denmark. We have taken one step closer to consolidating what is Great Britain. We have taken Norway's islands from them, and we now basically control the North Sea out of Europe. That is step one in our grand adventure to colonize and conquer. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I will see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.